Hello there friends and followers, and welcome to this Explain 11 video. Today we are going to be flying the Embraer 110 based on popular demand. We are currently situated at Eagle County Regional Airport, and we're going to be doing a full flight today to Denver, Colorado in the US of A. Our approximate flight time today is 1 hour, and we're going to be cruising at 15,000 feet. The weather here at Eagle County Regional is quite pleasant. The skies are clear. We're expecting some clouds at our destination at Denver. So let's get started. This is what our plan looks like here for this flight. We're going to be departing Eagle County Regional Airport through the JIPS M6 departure. We're going to fly direct to Romeo Lima Golf here via our station, and then direct to Scarf, and then direct to runway 16 right at Denver International. If we look at our destination here and we very quickly interrogate the arrival charts, if we go to the approach and select runway 16 right here. Okay, so this is runway 16 right. We're going to be coming straight in through Scarf. The localizer frequency is 111.9er, and the final approach course is 173 degrees. Our platform altitude today for the flight is 7,000 feet. So let's get started. All right, we are going to be using the checklist that comes with the aircraft. This, by the way, the Embraer 110 by Dreamfoils is one aircraft I highly recommend. I'm not sure how I missed this aircraft in my top 14 or top 10 GA aircraft. I think it's a wonderful aircraft, very well built. I'm not sure if it received any updates recently, but it flies well, even in this beta 9 version of X-Plane 11.4. So let's bring up the checklist here. Before we do so, let's go to the exterior, and we're going to remove the wheels and all the static elements. Okay, everything is out, and now we can bring the checklist. And the checklist is kind of small, so we're just going to make this a little bigger so we can see what's going on. All right, here we go. Before starting, pre-flight and exit inspection is complete. Initial inspection is complete. Cabin and cockpit inspection is complete. The wheel chocks and tail support removed and stowed. The doors are closed. Seat pedals and seat belts are adjusted. Parking brake is set. Let's remove the yoke here so we can see what's going on. The parking brake is set. Propeller levers at maximum RPM, and they are now. Battery master switch, battery or external power. We're going to go ahead and use battery today. Just listen to those sounds. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's continue. Anti-collision light rotating. Anti-collision lights are right here, rotating. And navigation lights can go on. Inverters 1 and 2 are on. Inverters are on. The totalizer is set. That's the totalizer right here. And it has been set. And let's see here. Fuel pumps, auxiliary, on, observe, pressure. When you observe the pressure, we're going to go to auto, and we're then going to turn the main fuel pump. So let's do this here for the left and right. This is the auxiliary, and this is the main. So we're going to go to on. There's definitely fuel pressure. Then go to auto and turn on the main fuel pump. And we're going to do the same thing for the left engine. So auxiliary on, observe fuel pressure, go to auto, and then turn on the main fuel pump. Very well. Hydraulic booster pump is on. This guy is located right down here. Radios are off. Okay. Then we're going to go to start and taxi. As you can see, it's quite simple to start the Embraer 110. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch to the start position. Ignition indicator light is on. We're going to observe positive indication for oil and fuel pressure, and then the condition lever will be moved to low idle after 12% in G. All right, let's do that. We're going to come here to the right engine first and start. And we're going to observe about 12% NG. That's good enough. Let's give it fuel. And our engine is now starting. There we go. And we have a good start on the right engine. Let's go ahead and repeat the same steps for the left engine. Right, 12% NG. And let's get fuel. Right at the mark there. All right, and we have a good start on the left engine as well. Let's uncage this side and this side. All right, let's continue with the checklist now. That's done. All right, engine start is complete. Battery on master. Generators, we're going to turn on the generators now. Generator 1, 2 and 1 are now on. And let's see, inertial separators as required, static. All right, let's head over here. We're going to turn on the non-smoking fasten seatbelt sign, static pitot heat, PX heat are all on now. And then we're going to test the battery temperature monitor, which is right here. Okay, that looks good to me. The gyro and lighting emergency supply, that's right here, and it is now armed. And now finally we can turn on our radios. So let's come over here, radio on, radio on. We're going to set the, let's see here, this is on standby. Yep, transponder on standby. We'll leave this at 2000. We're going to turn this on. We don't need the ADF frequencies. This one goes to standby. Okay. Transponder is on standby. The radar is on standby. Air conditioning as required. We're going to come down here. We're going to set this to vent. And we're going to select warm, auto. We'll just leave it there for now. All right, at this point, we're going to set up our flight plan. So we're going to come here to menu, flight plan first, menu. And we're going to delete whatever is there, delete flight plan, enter. All right, and then we can come down here and select the flight plan. In the interest of time, I created the flight plan using SimBrief and exported the X-Plane 11 format into the output folder. So this is our flight here today, Eagle County to Denver, Colorado, and we're going to select that. And what we can do now is we can select our departure. So we're going to go to procedure, and we're going to say select departure, enter. And this is our SID, which is the Gibbs M Mike 6. We're going to select it, enter, and we're departing runway 25, enter, and load. And finally, at Denver, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Procedures. We're going to select the approach at Denver, and it's going to be ILS runway 16 right, and we're going to be taking vectors to final. So insert, and we'll just say vectors and load. All right, we're pretty much ready now. The flight plan is there, and we're good to go. We're going to increase the range here a bit. There we go. That's good enough, and we are good to go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the nose wheel steering, which is right here. And the nose wheel steering is now on, and we are ready now. So parking brake release, we're testing the brakes, propeller levers, our maximum RPM, the power levers will be on taxi, fuel condition levers as required, flight instruments checked, beta lights checked, radar if installed on standby, crossfeed is off, fuel pumps set, autopilot test. All right, so we don't need to do any of that. I do want to check our trim before we start taxiing, and it's set to takeoff, so we are good there. Okay, we are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to release the parking brake, and we can now head over to the runway, which is to our right. Let's remove the checklist and let's go. Listen to those engine sounds. Really, really nice. Let's see, taxi lights. All right, let's bring up the checklist and let's take a look here. So engine run up, we're going to skip. Check the governor, that's fine. All of that we're going to skip. We're going to go straight to takeoff. Before takeoff, utility lights are on at night. Landing lights are on. Taxi lights are off. Let's see, initial separation as required. Flaps 25. All right, flaps 25 is set. Flight controls, full up, full down, full left, full right. Brake pedals, check. Okay, all's good. And let's see here. Flight controls, trim tabs are set. Takeoff data is checked. Takeoff briefing is complete. Strobe landing and taxi lights on. Actually, the landing lights should be on, and the rotating beacon now is on strobes. And everything else here looks good to me. Radar as required. We're going to put the radar here on terrain. Air conditioning off or vent, which is done. Transponder to on. Transponder is set. There we go. And let's see, fuel condition levers are high idle. All right, and that is set as well. And now we can release the parking brake. After takeoff, landing flaps 0, propeller levers at 91%, power lever set for climb, air conditioning set. All right, so all is good here. All right, we're going to leave this here and let's go ahead and depart. Parking brake released. All right, folks, we are ready to go. We're going to just slowly advance the power. And we're going to rotate at about 80 knots. There we go, 80 knots and rotate. gears going up. And we're going to begin our left turn now. All right, and we're going to bring the condition lever to about 90%. There we go. We're still looking good. The actual climb rate for the aircraft is 1,600 feet per minute, but for some reason I don't think I have that much power. We're drifting off course there. Okay, we're doing pretty good. All right, flaps up. Very well. So we continue now. We can climb now. All right, let's bring up the checklist again. And flaps are up. This is 91. Air conditioning we can set now to on. Landing lights and taxi lights are off, which they are. And what else is here? Propeller sync is on. Oops. All right, so propeller sync is on, and we can turn off the hydraulic booster pumps. And everything else looks good. And that's for cruise. Okay, so we are approaching 9,000 feet now. By the way, we did not set the altimeter, which is my bad. But that's okay. We'll set it momentarily here as soon as we engage the autopilot. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to engage the autopilot, and we're going to make sure this is set on GPS. And let's see here. All right, so yaw damper, autopilot on, yaw damper, autopilot, nav mode. And the autopilot is now taken over. All right, and let's see, we are, I think 1,000 feet per minute is fine. Let's check everything here. Yeah, everything looks good. This is at 91%. All is looking good now, so we're going to continue to climb to 15,000 feet, but this is probably a good time to check the altimeter. So let's go to our radio here and set it to 122.0 and set this to the active.
Kilo Echo Golf Echo Airport information Golf 0256 Zulu weather wind 092 at 3 visibility 10 sky clear temperature 0 dew point -6 altimeter 3045 advise on initial contact you have information Golf.
All right, so we've set the We've set the altimeter now to 3045, and we continue now to the Romeo Lima Golf VOR, and of course the autopilot is now on. And we are now almost at 15,000 feet, which is our final cruise altitude for the flight today. and we're gonna hit on altitude. And we are now at 15,000 feet, which is our final cruise altitude for our flight today. Let's bring up the checklist. Cruise speed exceed as required. Propeller levers at 83. All right, let's take that to 83%. That's about right. Cabin signs. We're gonna turn off the fasten seatbelt signs now. And all is looking good. All right, folks, we are now at 15,000 feet, which is our cruise altitude for the flight. And I'm gonna let you enjoy the flight, and I will check back with you right before we begin our descent into Denver. Enjoy the flight. All right, folks, we are approximately 8.5 nautical miles from the top of descent point. As you can see, we're surrounded by mountains here, so we got to be very careful. But everything's looking good. By the way, there was one mistake I've done. Before takeoff, we're supposed to set auto feather, and I forgot to set the auto feather for takeoff. So that might have contributed to the low power that we've had. I'm not sure, but you guys can correct me there. So all's looking good, and we're going to begin our turn momentarily. Let's go ahead and bring up the checklist. All right, checklist and initial approach, descent procedures complete, cabin signs on, utility lights are on at night, oxygen valve is closed, ignition PXC as required, landing lights on, landing data checked, approach briefing complete. Okay, so there isn't much for us to do at this point. There is a little bit of turbulence I can see, and we're now 5 nautical miles. Let's decrease the range, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the seatbelt signs on now in preparation for our descent. And we're going to check the altimeter.
Kilo Golf November Bravo Airport information Juliet 0346 Zulu weather wind calm visibility 10 sky clear temperature -7 dew point -14 altimeter 3035 advise on initial contact you have information Juliet. Kilo Golf November Bravo Airport information Juliet.
All right, so we've set the altimeter now, and as soon as we begin the turn, we're going to also begin our descent towards Denver. All right, here's our turn, and we're going to descend at 500 feet per minute. There we go, that's our turn. All right, and at this point, remove that, and we're going to begin our descent. "500 feet per minute." Actually, 800 is just fine, so let's do that. All right, and we're going to ease off on the power now. And we are going to take the this back to 91%. There we go. We're going to maintain our current speed. Okay. So the last thing we need to do is we need to activate vectors to final, which we can do now. But first, let's note the frequency for our for runway 16 right at Denver. The frequency is 111.9er, and the final approach course is 173. All right, so let's set the frequencies. to 111.9er. 111.9 is now set and active. And we're going to do this on the other device as well here. Let's see here. 111.9er. And we're going to set it to the active frequency. Alright, I think we're a bit too fast. There we go. And we're going to descend to 7,000, which is our platform altitude. Alright, so at this point what I'm going to do, if we look up here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to procedures, and I'm going to say activate vectors to final, enter that, and we're going to change now to VLOC, and I'm going to change our heading. Let's see here, heading select. There we go. So we're set. This is the final approach fix that we need to intercept for the localizer, and we're going to keep descending now to 7,000 feet. Alright, at this point let's go ahead and take a look at where we are. We are on a direct course to our final fix here. We're about 25 nautical miles. So what we're going to do is we are at 7,000 feet. So let's hold the altitude there at 7,000. We're going to maintain about 140 knots for the remainder of our approach into Denver. Okay, let's bring up the checklist here and make sure that we are configured for landing. Yeah, okay. Checklist. Okay, so before landing, altimeters are set and cross-check. We'll worry about the flaps later. Propeller sync is off. Let's turn that off now. Auto feather is set. 91, we're already there. Hydraulic booster pump is on. And everything else here is fine. Final approach, flaps 100. Air condition go to vent. And propeller, okay. So we are good now. We're going to keep the current speed and altitude until we are at our final fix, and all is looking good now. Alright folks, we are now approaching Denver International Airport. The airport is right over there, as you can see, and we are just a few nautical miles now. We're going to begin our turn to a heading of 173 to intercept the localizer. That's our final approach fix right here, and we are currently at 7,000 feet, and all is looking good. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn, we're going to set the air conditioning to vent. Right, and fuel lever on high idle. Some turbulence here, I tell you. That's the airport, and there is an aircraft right over there. Man, I tell you, this turbulence is getting pretty violent. All right, and let's set our heading now. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to approach. All right, we're going to reduce our speed. And as you can see, the localizer is active now. So this is the localizer, and this is the glide slope. As you can see, it's coming down now. All right, let's reduce our speed. And all is looking good. Flaps. Gears going down. Glide slope is now active. And we're gonna set our speed to about 90 knots for landing. I can see we have 2 reds and 2 whites at the moment. All right, folks, we're looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and disengage the autopilot now. And my aircraft, very turbulent weather here as we come into land. What's with the stutters, man? Touchdown. Reverse. And welcome to Denver International Airport, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to momentarily look at our landing. All right, let's bring the aircraft to a complete stop here and take a look at our landing. Right, parking brake is set. Well, folks, this pretty much brings us to the conclusion of our video today. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you have any questions, please do post them in the comment section below. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.